Good morning, FYI family, and welcome to our broadcast. It's a privilege to be here with all of you fantastic folks this morning. Great to see so many of you already lined up. Toano Green, let us know how you're hearing us this morning. Lynn Finance, how you guys are doing? Rena and Rohan Basantram, Rena Marks, that is, and Gloria Chester. Gloria, girl, we're in that season, Well, she tell your husband how this man miserable, huh? This fella Sherrod, miserable. Lynette Finance, we see you there. Klangran Searchima, we see you as well. We see you. Merville Schultz, the Schultz. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Rastaman, it's a laid back Friday. It's a quiet Friday. We kind of shift things up a little bit. Shift things up just a little bit. Good to have all of you nonetheless on the live this morning. Is it Margaret Nelson we see there? Is it Margaret Nelson? Is it Margaret? Yeah. Good morning. Margaret says, remember the one US dollar challenge continues? Talk to me. How are you folks doing there? How are you wonderful folks doing? Great to have all of you on the live. Just want to make sure we share to all the valid and credible places. So good to see all of you here this morning on a Friday morning. It's Friday the 22nd day of November, folks. Friday the 22nd day of November. Margaret, have you, let me say that I wanted to. Has you packed away yet? You all pack away yet? You all break up yet? Have you folks? You all break up yet? You all break up the house? Let me be a little more specific. I might be inducing some trauma. Might be bringing on some trauma for some of you. You all break up the house. Andrew Griffith, John, Dougie, Marlon Seafort. Good to see all of you fantastic people on the live. That's how we say it. That's how we say it in the diaspora. We're on the live. Folks, good morning to all of you. We're just making sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. Deborah Clark. Things might seem a little different this morning. You're just allow we. Y'all just allow us. Fox Seasons greetings. Is it that official time when we say that? Is that an official time? Forbes, Meduas, and Margaret says she stay fixed up. She don't break up for nothing. That sounds like the lady I know. That sounds like the lady Margaret. Natasha, Bristol, good to have you. Margaret says she only adding the Christmas tree. I could deal with that. I could deal this big set of cleaning and breaking up and mashing up. Tiring out people. You're so tired you can't even enjoy the season. Elizabeth Howard, you're so tired. You can't even enjoy the season properly. God damn it. Good morning to you fantastic folks. Joining us from a number of places. You all love yeah? You all love us. Good to have all of you on the live with us this morning. Great to see so many of you on the live today. Audrey Ward says she's watching from the British Virgin Islands. Only take that. You know, some we just go for vacation, and some people is a staycation. You know, you get to live in paradise 365 days a year. Nice time. Yeah, you gotta walk and so on. Hope my sister got back to Tortola. Audrey, you meet back, girl? Tortola. Marlon Thomas, Marlon said his story. I see a whole family come out now. That was nice too. Happy Father's, belated Father's Day, Jagdeo. I see a whole family. What's happening? Something is happening. Things just happen. In politics, there are no coincidences. Let us learn that. There are no coincidences in politics, folks. None. Rohan, you better tell them. Chin Singh? Chin Singh say, yes, she made home safe. Good. Who break up? Who break up? Some of y'all taking out the curtains and this. Look, we got to stop this thing, you know. Right? Put up Venetian blinds, the whole place. How long Venetian blinds supposed to last? You take long, you throw in the garbage, put up another set. Good morning, Michaela, Andrew Coates, Gail, Naomi's here too, Marlon Thomas, Deborah Pearson, Deborah Sir Orwin. Oh, yeah. My face thing. The coconut oil, huh? Haters going to hate. Haters going Haters. Let me sit back a little from the lights. Maybe it's that. Maybe I'm too close. Maybe I'm too close to the lights. Good morning, folks. Where are you joining us from? It's Modi country. Let's start it here. Let me make sure a little center. It's Modi country. I can tell y'all. Modi country. Folks, we start this morning, this Friday morning, the 22nd day of November, 2024, in the year of our Lord, Adonai Domini. This is where we begin from this morning, folks. Forgive us, we could not be there with you folks last night. I know who had the chip set. I know who had the other things set aside. You know how? Right? You know how? We know who had things set up a certain way. We apologize. You know how? But we're happy to have all of you guys with us this morning. Forgive me if I'm shining bright like a diamond. Forgive me if I'm shining bright like a diamond, folks. Let's start with the first five or so. Start with the first one. Folks, it's a privilege to be here with all of you folks as the season begins. This end, and people making a list, checking it twice. Do remember, as you being philanthropic this season, remember us. Remember us. We got to keep the lights on. We got to keep the doors open. Remember us, good folks. So yesterday it was Modi Town once more as the Prime Minister of India, his trip wound down. Yesterday, he spoke to the National Assembly, and we want to bring you some of what he said. And then on the other side, when we come back, we spoke with some members of Parliament yesterday about what they heard out of Modi's half an hour. He spoke for just over half an hour yesterday. And what were what were their own thoughts? All right, what were their own thoughts? We're going to talk to a few parliamentarians. Here is Mr. Modi in his own words, folks. Take a look, take a listen.
Today, both our countries are strengthening democracy in the world. And that is why, on behalf of 1.4 billion Indians, I convey my greetings to all of you in Guyana's Parliament today. I congratulate each member of Guyana's Parliament. Every single effort by you to strengthen democracy in Guyana is contributing towards development in the world. Friends, as we make efforts to strengthen democracy, we must also continuously keep an eye on what is happening around the world.
और गयाना आजाद हुए
When India and Guyana became independent,
अलग तरह की चुनौती
the world was faced with very different challenges.
सदी की दुनिया के
Today, the 21st century world
क्या है
is faced
पूरी तरह
with
अलग है
completely different kinds of challenges.
इसके बाद बनी
The systems and institutions created
तो हो रही
after the Second World War are crumbling.
कोरोना के बाद
After the COVID pandemic,
एक नए वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर की
when
तरफ बढ़ना
we should have moved towards a new world order,
दुनिया
the world
दूसरी ही चीजों
was caught up with other things.
इन परिस्थितियों में
In these circumstances,
आज विश्व के सामने
the best motto the world can follow today to move forward
डेमोक्रेसी
is
फर्स्ट
democracy first,
ह्यूमैनिटी फर्स्ट
humanity first.
डेमोक्रेसी फर्स्ट की भावना हमें
The mantra democracy first teaches us
साथ लेकर चलो
that we must take everyone along
को साथ लेकर सबके
and
विकास में
in doing
सहभागी
so become a partner in everyone's development. The humanity first
हमारे
motto
निर्णयों की दिशा तय करता
guides our decisions.
है। जब ह्यूमैनिटी फर्स्ट को अपने निर्णयों का
When
आधार
we make humanity first the basis of our decisions,
मानवता का हित करने वाले ही
the results we obtain are always in the interest of mankind. Friends, our democratic values
इतनी मजबूत है
are so strong
कि विकास के रास्ते पर
that
चलते हुए
they become our pillar of support, enabling us to face any ups and downs on our path to development.
एक इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी के निर्माण
To build an inclusive society,
डेमोक्रेसी से बड़ा
there is no better system than democracy.
नागरिकों का कोई भी मत
Whatever may be the belief
उसका कोई भी
or
background हो,
creed of citizens, whatever may be their background,
हर नागरिक को
democracy
उसके अधिकार
guarantees for all citizens
उसके
protection
उज्जवल भविष्य की
of their
गारंटी
rights and a bright future.
हम दोनों देशों ने मिलकर दिखाया है
And both our countries
कि
have
डेमोक्रेसी
together shown
सिर्फ
that democracy
एक कानून
is not just a law,
सिर्फ एक व्यवस्था नहीं
it is not just a system.
हमने दिखाया है
We have shown
डेमोक्रेसी
that democracy
हमारे
is
DNA में
in
है,
our DNA.
हमारे विजन में
It
है,
is reflected in our vision and in our actions. Friends, today I am here in your midst as Prime Minister of India. However, 24 years ago, I had the opportunity to visit this beautiful country as someone just curious to learn.
तौर पर लोग
Generally,
ऐसे देशों में
people like to visit countries
कामयाब
that are known for their glamour and glitter.
लेकिन मुझे
However,
गयाना की विरासत
I just wanted to learn about Guyana and understand its heritage, its history.
आज भी गयाना में कई लोग
You may find several people in Guyana today
मुलाकातें याद
who still remember having met me then.
यात्रा उस यात्रा से बहुत सी यादें
I have a lot of memories of my visit to Guyana at that time.
पैशन
The passion people have for cricket here,
संगीत
the music here,
और जो बात
and something
मैं कभी
that I can never forget
वो है
is
चटनी
the chutney.
चटनी
Chutney,
भारत की हो
whether from India
ना की
or Guyana,
वाकई कबाब
is truly wonderful.
साथियों
Friends,
बहुत कम ऐसा होता है
it doesn't happen often,
जब आप
but at times
दूसरे देश में जाएं
you visit another country
वहाँ का इतिहास
and the history of that country feels just like the history of your own country. Over the last 200 to 250 years, both India and Guyana experienced the same kind of colonialism. We have gone through the same struggles.
Yeah, welcome back, folks. That is some of what Mr. Modi said yesterday, Prime Minister of India, as he addressed the National Assembly here in Georgetown. India, of course, is the world's largest democracy. And look, politics aside, it was a privilege having the Indian Prime Minister in the House. And on the sidelines of that, we talked to some parliamentarians and members of Parliament, asking them their own thoughts of Mr. Modi's presentation, the content, the depth and breadth of it. We spoke with the leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, and we spoke to some of our other parliamentary colleagues there yesterday, some other members of Parliament, and this is some of what they told us, folks. This is some of what they told us. Good to see so many of you on the live this morning, Maud Oliver, and I see Naomi. I didn't want to pick out that Naomi. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it. Yvette and Avril and Beryl and Brian. Good to see Brian Daniels on the live this morning as well. Great to see so many of you joining us, folks. It's a privilege having all of you. This is some of what our members of Parliament said. And let's perhaps start with the leader of the opposition there, and folks, see how far we get.
This was a very good presentation. Of course, your Prime Minister of India was speaking from the background of the Prime Minister of India. There was only one concern which I raised with him, was that in his presentation, he was speaking to small island states. And I said to him, it is in Ghana's interest for us to speak about small island states and low-lying developing countries. Because as a low-lying developing country, we face some of the same problems that the islands face. And I think it is in Ghana's interest to always link the low-lying coastal developing country like Ghana with the islands, so that one, in addressing our concerns are addressed, because there are similarities between islands and low-lying coastal states. We have a large sea fence, long sea fence, and that is because we are low-lying. In some regard, a lot of the islands don't have that problem, but they have similar problems that emerge from being an island state. But for us, being a low-lying coastal state, the maintenance of the sea fences is a very critical one. So I thought the government needs to ensure that as we speak internationally, we speak to small island states and low-lying developing countries. That phrase in a book will open new opportunities for Guyana. So, in the main, outside of that concern, I have no major concern.
Leader of the opposition, India is the largest democracy, and the Prime Minister did allude to the sheer numbers in terms of local democratic organs, councillors, and so on who are elected. Are there things perhaps from India that we can learn that can impact our own electoral system? Because we've had some challenges where that's concerned.
Well, I think in India's case, they allocate resources in a fair way to local democratic organs. There we need to pay more attention, and the government needs to treat the local democratic organs as organs which the people elect, and therefore they are entitled to the resources of the people. I believe that is one of the things we should learn. India's had years of experience in the area of democracy, and so I think we can engage there and learn from it.
In addition to that, several memorandums of understandings were signed during the course of the Prime Minister's stay. What are your thoughts generally?
Ghana and India have had a long relationship, and I believe that it is always useful to have cooperation. And so I welcome it, but I think the focus has to be now on implementation, because there are a lot of memoranda that were signed, but the follow-up sometimes has been. I think we need to follow up and use the opportunities also.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you.
It was extraordinarily emotional for me to be in the parliament with an Indian Prime Minister speaking, and a Hindu one at that. And the fact that he is known to be a very religious person, the fact that he's so popular in India, made me very proud that here it is, that having gone to the G20 summit meeting in Brazil, he could step across to Guyana to ensure that he's in the presence of a diaspora that is made up of almost 43% East Indians, or 42% East Indians. Guyana is well known for having so many things Indian: its culture, its civilization, its education, so many aspects of it Indian in a certain admixture with British and of course local and so on.
You had all of the seas coming out of it.
Yeah, we had almost everything, and it was so impressive too to see so many people being there to listen to him. But the other impressive thing about that aspect of it is him coming and speaking in Hindi. I am proud of that. It is a language when I was a small boy, my grandmother used to try to train me to learn, but I never really learned it. And the fact that he came here, did it in his own language, and had the interpreters, of course, converting it into English language for us, I am very happy that indeed, because there's tremendous nationalism in that kind of an approach, talking in our parliament, although I know that he's very good in his English language. In relation to the other aspect of the matter, I thought he brought out an internationalist perspective. This is a very bright Prime Minister. This is a very astute politician. This is an extraordinary human being. And we have challenges that we all have to face. We have suffered historically through colonialism. And similarly, he, however, have tremendous hope. He spoke on issues like climate change and colonialism, but he indicated that we must do a couple of things in relation to women's development, emphasizing that. Youth development and good governance issues. I am glad that he has made out a theme, as it were, humanity first and democracy first. That is two themes that we must have here also in Guyana. And the fact that he has done so much for Guyana, helping, and that is the state of India, under his government and even previous governments, it is important that that kind of commitment to assist a small country like Guyana continue. Whether it be parliamentary exchanges, scholarships in engineering and what you call computer tech industries and so on, it is vital that we get training from the best. And some of the best, what you call scientific schools are, of course, in India. And I am very happy that he's committed to helping out.
In so many regards.
Yeah, and solar panel industry, solar energy. And he talks about the fact too, and he made it quite clear that he's interested in Guyana because they would need energy from that oil that we have found. I thought it was a frank expression of why his interest in Guyana.
Yeah.
And so fantastic to be here and to be part of this history of being in a parliament in which the largest democracy in the world had its prime minister addressing us. Thank you very much.
Well, look, it was certainly a pleasure to welcome him to the Parliament of Guyana. India and Guyana have been long-term partners. Indeed, as PM Modi noted, our histories are intertwined. And so always a pleasure to have him here and to deepen the cooperation that we have with India. I was particularly struck by what he said about the importance of democracy and the importance of our democratic institutions, and the fact that we need to put humanity first. You know, we in the opposition have been always saying that progress at the cost of human life and at the cost of humanity is no progress at all. So to hear him reinforce what we have been saying is indeed heartening. I am happy to hear about the importance that they place on women and the development of women in India. As someone who has worked for many years in the aviation field in my former life, happy to hear that women are making strides. And I think it's an area for a significant collaboration as it relates to how we develop our human resource capacity in the area of aviation. I think aerospace as well, deepening cooperation there is something that we need to look at. You know, our geographical location as it relates to our proximity to the equator makes us an ideal country geographically for an aerospace industry. And so I would hope to see us having talks along the lines of helping Guyana to develop that capacity.
Okay, the Prime Minister has vowed in terms of working with Guyana and India in terms of strengthening national security and defense, which is a paramount call from the opposition in light that we still have the issue with Guyana and Venezuela. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, absolutely. As it relates to our defense, we have the need to have our allies with us. We are a small nation. Our population is less than 1 million. Our defense capabilities are those of a small nation, and so certainly powerful allies as it relates to security, allies like like India, like the US, etc., very, very important for us in the context of the controversy that we have ongoing with Venezuela. So certainly it is something that is welcome. I hope that the government is able to take the opportunity to really maximize that understanding that we need to maintain our traditional partners, because we will need all of the support that we can get as it relates to this controversy with Venezuela.
One further questions from
I only wanted to ask I mean, you made a general pass at it. Some of the MOUs that were signed as the channel for so what were your general thoughts? MOUs that agriculture and technology and what?
Well, look, MOUs are always good. The difficulty I think that we generally face here is how do we begin to implement those MOUs. So I think that is where the challenge for the government will come in. How do we make sure that we have the human capacity to take advantage of these opportunities? And this is where you see the government is going to have to be very clear in its own mind that this policy that it has of only using people that they believe are loyal to them, or utilizing experts that they believe are loyal to them, and requiring political loyalty, they will find very, very quickly that that is not a viable way to grow this nation. Like I said before, we're a small country. We need every hand on deck. We need professionals. We need people with capacity. And so that will be the challenge. The challenge is going to be whether they could rise to the occasion of putting aside partisan politics, putting aside their ethos of discrimination, to really capitalize on these golden opportunities that we have before us.
Amanda just drilled down a little bit on the democratic aspect of what the Indian PM spoke about. Here is a country with 1.4 billion persons. The persons who make up its local government structure, council is elected at 1.something million. I mean, we're struggling here with the GCOM for the longest while. Are there things we can learn from?
There's a lot that I think we could learn from what PM Modi spoke about. You know, it's quite interesting to hear that the women involved in politics at the local government level is twice the population of Guyana. So it puts into context the sheer numbers that they're dealing with. But it's an important lesson for us here in Guyana, because here we are, less than 1 million people, and we can't seem to get the basics right. So when you understand and you hear from these global leaders, you understand that we are really, as a nation, and the PPPC administration rather, as a nation, is really majoring on the minors. And so it puts the people of Guyana at a significant disadvantage, because when you talk about the importance of strong democratic institutions, it was reinforced here today, because we keep making the point in the opposition that that democracy has a procedural element to it, which is election day, voting, etc., but it also has a substantive component, which is what we live in our daily lives every day. How is the system working for the ordinary Guyanese? And so to hear it reinforce that democratic institutions are important, to hear it reinforce that humanity is important. We have always said that this government cares about concrete over the people of Guyana. And you heard the PM this morning emphasizing that humanity and the concern and care for humanity has to be at the forefront. So I think it's something that the PPPC administration could learn. We in the opposition have been always pushing a people-centered approach to development, because we continue to say that progress at the expense of human lives, progress at the expense of our environment is no progress at all. So it is really a question of whether this government intends to learn, whether it intends to revise its posture,
or just photo up, because
or if this is just a photo op, and they will just use this for PR and mileage.
because it has occurred to me that maybe we like the problems we have, that we pretend to be, or we pretend to, they are intractable problems. How does Narendra Modi move forward a country with 1.4 billion? We got
Yeah, we have less than a million. And I'll tell you something I know,
struggling to.
and this is where we will see whether it's for the photo ops, because, the public will look and they will see. They will see the government ministers making a particular effort to be cordial to us today, etc., because their cameras on the proceedings, right? But what if we could have a Guyana where that cordiality is extended every day, and it is more the norm than the exception when there's a state visit? Can you imagine with me that kind of Guyana? Where, okay, we disagree on policies, but this rabid rancor that has injected itself into our politics, that continues to poison the veins of Guyanese, what if we could make that a thing of the past? So I think the challenge is before us to sort of envision and create the Guyana that we want to see. And it is up to every Guyanese, the opposition, the government, for the short time that they have remaining, the people of Guyana, to really understand that when you look at countries like India and the strides that they're making, do they have their problems? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there are lessons that we can certainly learn and implement here that will see every Guyanese being able to enjoy a good life. So the jury is out on the impact of the visit. We will see. And certainly as Shadow Foreign Affairs, I will be monitoring the implementation of the MOU, certainly at the level of the Sectoral Committee on Foreign Relations. We will be following up to understand the mechanisms that the government intends to put in place to capitalize on these MOUs that could, if we could get Minister Hugh Todd to convene a meeting of this committee in a few short days.
First, I want to thank him and his people for affording us the opportunity to hear directly from him here on our shores. Guyana and India has a long-standing, strong relationship dating back from since we were visited by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, who was received by LFS Bornum in 1968, just 2 years after we had become an independent state, and now we are privileged to have Narendra Modi ji. I really was inspired by his presentation. I liked the fact of how he brought democracy into the entire discussion or into the entire delivery. He spoke about the India being the largest, and rightly so, the largest democracy, and he spoke about what can be achieved when democracy is at the forefront in terms of uplifting the people and basically, in a nutshell, making the ordinary people feel as though they are empowered, or know, for them to know that they are empowered. And I think that was a fantastic aspect of his presentation. I also like the fact that he recognized the leader of the opposition, and he basically gave his regards towards the aspect of how government and opposition ought to work. I trust that the government of Guyana, the People's Progressive Party, took note of what that powerhouse was saying. Powerhouse in the sense of India and its democracy, and recognizing that there ought to be a space and there ought to be a place for the opposition. In the Guyana context, the government is just controlling one seat in the National Assembly. So it goes to show that 49% of the population is of a different position from that of the PPP, and therefore, where democracy is of concern, it must have that inclusion of the opposition. I think that is what Narendra Modi ji was saying to the People's Progressive Party, and I trust they were listening. Outside of the focus on democracy, I also admired the collaboration that he spoke to, that they will embark on. Mind you, we do have a strong collaboration with India. I myself benefited from the Next Gen Democracy program when I was in India, and was treated well and learned a lot about India and India's culture, and about strengthening their relationship and the ties that is established between our two countries. And I also like the fact that he said that we must collaborate globally and act locally. So from a standpoint of us coming together as a body in terms of our countries, learning from each other, but then we must come back home and we must do what is necessary at home to develop our nation. I think it was a fantastic presentation, and I thank Narendra Modi ji for his presence, his delivery, and all that he is doing to help benefit Guyana, as we also are doing to help benefit India.
Look, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have such an economic powerhouse to visit Guyana, and especially one knowing that India is one of the largest democracy country in the world. And it's been an honor. I also was honored to have him here and to be with us on our in this country. He spoke pretty well. He speak about the most important factor as being a politician is the humanity, because as politicians we are here to serve humanity, and that's one of the main things for me that stood out. That everything policy that you do and everything that you acted on should be directed to the people of your country, and I think that was stood out for me. Other than that, he speaks about the economics. He speaks about global collaboration. He speaks about the contribution from India to Guyana, especially in the time where we needed so badly when we had the war pandemic of the COVID-19. And India was one of the countries that supported Guyana in terms of the vaccination, because what we found is that the third world country like Guyana was not getting the benefit of the vaccine. But given the cooperation with India and Guyana, India has lent support to Guyana in that really need of time. So Sharad, I mean, it's been an honor, really. It's been a distinguished pleasure to have Prime Minister Narendra Modi here with us in Guyana. And we're looking forward to more cooperation from our side with him. He speaks about to everyone. He acknowledges the opposition. He knows the role that opposition plays in our country development. And that's some of the key things that he really pointed out.
Yeah, that's some of what went down yesterday, folks, there at the National Assembly. That is some of what took place. And it was such a privilege, again, being there with my my colleagues and listening to their own thoughts as well. And we wanted to make sure that you guys were kept abreast with some of the happenings on that front, folks. I see a lot of you saying, what happened with the cash grant? What happened with the cash? Folks, this cash grant thing got plenty of surprises. A lot of surprises. We're grateful for the visit of the Indian Prime Minister. Now we got to get back into some issues here. Could you imagine if India got 1.4 billion people? How do they manage their social safety nets, cost of living and so on? You all knows about 17 over here. And a cash grant that was announced on the 10th day of October. Not one citizen has gotten a cash grant as yet. How are people managing? Malapande, how are they managing? We got about 17 of us here. 5 of us lined up by the embassy waiting for papers. And a cash grant that was announced more than a month ago. We're still finding ourselves. The vice president come up, mix up the whole thing. Anything this man in is chaos and confusion. Then he tried to distract us yesterday. Bring out this hidden family. Bring out this hidden family. This madness gotta stop. Naomi City Cash Grant Goward Moody. Plenty foolishness going down. Now, where's the app? Jack just said they're going to be rolling out the app for the registration. Today, hearing something totally different. Where is the app? It's a set of lies. Here they're telling us now. No mention of app, you know. Here's what the government, the PP install regime, here's what they're telling us. To register, individuals must present their valid national identification card or valid passport. Photocopies will not be accepted. These official documents are the only acceptable forms of identification used to confirm that the applicant is a Guyanese citizen, age 18 or older, making them eligible for the cash grant. That's one. They said during the registration now, and this is by the app, during the registration, a photo of the applicant will be taken to verify their physical presence and to ensure that the person who collects the cash grant is the same individual who registered. And yeah, there's more. Additionally, a photo of the applicant's ID or passport will be taken to validate that information on the document matches the person registering. Each eligible individual is entitled to register and receive the 100,000 cash grant only once. It's all this now there. More than a month ago, instantaneously, President Irfan Ali says, we're getting this cash grant instantaneously. And moved from 200,000 per household to 100,000 per adult individual. You know, then it went out to the diaspora, it moved to... You all think this thing coming? You all got a fair sense that this thing coming? Is it? Is it coming? I don't know. I got my doubts. But the cash grant thing, mix up. Mix-upism. While we're in that, watching the time here as we wind down, let me throw a few things at you. There's a meeting at GCOM this afternoon. A press conference, rather. Let me put in that term, those terms. Press conference. See my brother over there at HEP TV Nightly, Travis Chase. They've been calling out GCOM, like the parliamentary opposition. Planetinji come hiding, hiding, hiding. Planetinji come hiding. Well, there's a press conference at 2 this afternoon, folks. So they're going to be addressing a couple issues according to what we see circulating coming out of Starbucks News. They will be discussing some. Let me refer to my notes. I want to be accurate when I'm dealing with GCOM. At least they put out a statement saying they didn't say. They didn't say X, Y, or Z. So I want to make sure I'm accurate. But there's a press conference on at 2 o'clock. That much we know. There is a press conference on at 2 o'clock, and they said it will provide awareness. This is the phrase now. This press conference is going to provide awareness about pertinent current issues. It's going to provide awareness on pertinent current issues. Yeah. So there's that happening. Give you guys a quick snapshot as we wrap up. There's that happening at that end. In addition to that, they're telling us that the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Calvin Brutus, he is due back in court today to face an additional 21 financial charges. This is in addition to the 240 plus. He's going to be facing another 21 financial charges. They said these are related to allegations of money laundering and fraud. So in addition to 21 now, he said he was informed of the new charges on Tuesday, and the charges come as part of SOCO's ongoing investigation into finances and financial dealings of the Assistant Commissioner. And Kaitio News is reporting on this morning. Kaitio News, they're reporting on this. An additional 21 charges. That's another headline that we're looking at. And y'all remember we've been talking a little bit while that's happening. So here's you back. It's a full day. We should get a press conference out of the PNCR today. We should get one out of the Alliance for Change this afternoon. And there's the GCOM press conference. Then there's the appearance of Calvin Brutus in the court. So with these, we're watching. So all this is happening. And you remember we've been talking about the banking situation in this country and how we ought to be aiming to improve it. We've had so many missed opportunities. I see there's a meeting happening. This is the World Trade Center in Guyana. They have the staging of a forum to address local and global banking issues on November 26th. They're going to be addressing local and global banking issues. Right? This is November 26th. And this is at the Exhibition Center, Pegasus Suites, and its corporate center. November 26th. What stood out to me, they said under the theme, Banking Made Easier, the conference is taking place at a juncture that encompasses enhanced regulatory safeguards and the introduction of mechanisms designed to enable more convenient access to financing for small and medium businesses. Right? We got to be able to move money around much faster and smoother and safe as well than we do currently. By the time you get access to the little money, opportunity gone. We heard everyone saying that they want people to come together and to open businesses or get involved in business venture with this 100,000 cash grant that is supposed to be aimed at relieving the cost of living. It's a business grant now, so they want you to come together. But if you had a little idea and you had 2-3 people waiting on you, you can't plan with this in mind. 1 month ago, people got you waiting. Who knows when it's coming? Who knows when it's going to be distributed? So we were a little heartened to see that this conference is happening, and we hope it happens, and we hope that the banking system is better. Not just for business people, but for the ordinary man too. You gotta go in some line. The ATM is supposed to be efficient, and in some cases, the ATM is no different from if you're going to stand up in the line to see a teller in the bank. A whole long line, 500 people waiting. So we gotta do something, man. We gotta do something. No wonder Modi said we ain't flashy, glitter and glamour. We ain't got it. Dim and dull. We ain't got the glitter and the glamour. We don't have it. Folks, and as we wrap up, let me leave you with this bit of information coming out of Trinidad. I find in this particular instance here, right? In this instance here, Trinidad Customs rang all over. Wrong all over. Some things you just don't do. Some things you just do not do. You don't understand it, stay away from it. You just don't do it. Trinidad Customs. Them boys that tried here, and then we saw them free up a little bit during COVID. What are we talking about, folks? Oh my gosh, a little business in Trinidad and Tobago. A little business. And you got customs over there now trying to get in the lady way. I feel like this is a little politics in it. When you saw through the story. The lady imports sex toys. The name of her business is Rogue Adult Toys and Lingerie. Now, if you don't understand certain things, leave it alone, man. Look, I saw your comments when we were, in the Moody segment. We were in the Moody, we have to learn to appreciate different views. You might not agree with it, but I've learned the same way I want to be listened to, right? And for people to internalize what you say, you got to give people the same benefit. We got to listen, internalize, and then if it's for you, the lady bringing in her merchandise, and they allowed some of it to go and some not to go. But it's what the court said to me that is a bit remarkable. It's what the court said, right? That was interesting, the court's rationalization. Listen to some of what Trinidad Express is reporting this morning. Right? Remember, or rather, the judge held that the Customs and Excise Division acted unlawfully when they seized some of the items, the sex toys, and deemed as being obscene and indecent. This is the Express. The sex toys were deemed obscene and indecent. While at the same time, Customs Excise Division in Trinidad and Tobago, it released other similar items to the business. So the take some and the whole back some. I find customs in Trinidad. If you want to sample the product, say that. Say one sample. So they kept some and they hold back some. But that's only part of it. The judge said they acted unlawfully. Right? The judge says there should be legislative reform to provide a clearer definition and guidance to custom officers on exactly what items could be deemed obscene and indecent under the relevant section of the Customs Act. The judge went on to say, it is difficult to comprehend that the reasonable person viewing an item resembling human sexual organs would result in them thinking in a morally reprehensible manner or become morally corrupt. That's what the judge says. I don't understand why people would watch these toys that resemble human sexual organs, why they would be suddenly start behaving in a morally reprehensible manner or become morally corrupt. That's what the judge said. I don't understand it. The owner of the store, listen to this now. We get a little insight here into Trinidad. The owner of the store said the items were meant to replenish her stock. She was out of stock. And to fulfill orders. These, as the judge says, these items resembling human sexual organs. The shop owner says she meant to replenish her stock and to fulfill orders. But when the shipment arrived, about a year ago, August 18, the officer informed her that she had violated whatever part of the legislation. Right? What is also interesting here, what is also very interesting here is that the justice says, the judge says that she didn't know what objective tests or subjective tests the particular customs officer was using, right, to determine that the items resemble human sexual organs were for sexual stimulation. This one more people. Shouldn't you know what he used to say that these toys resembling, in the judge's words, not my own, human sexual organs were being used for sexual stimulation. He made that judgment. The judge goes on. If so, the judge says, by extrapolation, listen to this now. If these human organs, these toy human organs are to produce sexual stimulation, he came to that conclusion, and that would make people immorally bankrupt and all of the other things. She says by extrapolation, the importation of all prosthetic arms should be banned because those items can be used for sexual stimulation. Folks, in my whole life, I've never thought about a false hand. But the judge says by the same token, if human sexual organs, or rather toys that resemble human sexual organs, can be used for sexual stimulation and hence deemed as corrupting of public morals, then the importation of prosthetic arms should be banned because they can do the same work. Folks, That's happening in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm grateful that is not us. I am grateful that is not us. Hence I say, what you don't understand, leave it alone. Leave it alone. So they can ban prosthetic arms now. Prosthetic arms, who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? So the family's out, folks. We're all the time. We're going to talk about that at another occasion. I saw photographs of the family. If a man could hide a whole family, again I say, these are the people who, when you see people come out to the basement for 30 years and say, this man had held me captive. That's the neighbor said, this was a nice man. He never expected it. If the man could hide in a whole family, you think it's difficult for he hide in bank accounts and billions offshore and so on? Huh? You see the heavy matters we got to deal with in this country? Trinidad only got prosthetic arms and so on to worry them. We got a whole family now coming out to Norway. Shooting cats, grand starts sharing. You know things tight in this country? I see, gotta get it now, boy. Things getting too tight. Family comfort. Family comfort. We got a lot of things wrong in this country. That's going to do it for us at this end, folks. Whole family just emerged like the whole family. So I got competition now. Folks, that's going to do it for us at this end. That's our time. Sandra Hanover, Joel Ward, Forbes, Donna, Michaela, Gillian Solomon. Good to see you on the live this morning, Gillian. It's an easy Friday. Easy Friday at our end. This cup of coffee here look a little delish, boy. Cup of coffee. Good to have all of you on the live. We're going to see you guys right back here on the next one. Stay safe out there. Have a fantastic Friday, folks. We're going to see you guys on the next podcast. Stay safe. That's the time this morning. And that's our program.